giant silverback ran toward a blind man. No one expected what happened next. The first thing the camera captures is not the movement, but the sound. A low, distant rumble, deep, resonant, almost like thunder rolling beneath the earth itself. It vibrates through the soil, through the roots of ancient trees, through the still air thick with the scent of wet leaves and wild musk. It is not the sound of a storm. It is the sound of something alive. The frame opens slowly, as if hesitant to reveal too much too soon. A dense forest stretches endlessly in every direction, the canopy overhead filtering sunlight into fractured beams of gold and green. The air is heavy, humid, carrying the sharp, almost metallic scent of rain that has recently passed. Every leaf glistens, every branch holds droplets trembling at their tips. And then, movement. A massive silverback gorilla bursts through the undergrowth. His presence is overwhelming. Muscles ripple beneath thick, charcoal-black fur streaked with a saddle of silver across his back. Each step is deliberate yet powerful, crushing fallen branches beneath his weight. His breath comes in heavy bursts, visible even in the warm air, as if the tension inside him has its own temperature. He is not wandering, he is running toward something or someone. The camera cuts sharply. A man stands alone on a narrow dirt path, cutting through the forest. His posture is calm, almost unnaturally still. His clothes are simple, worn, earth-toned fabric that blends into the surroundings. A wooden cane rests lightly in his hand, its tip pressed into the damp soil. His eyes do not move. They do not react to the thunder of approaching footsteps. Because he cannot see. The blind man tilts his head slightly, as if listening to something beyond sound. The forest around him seems to hold its breath. Even the insects fall silent, their constant hum fading into nothingness. And then the ground begins to tremble. Closer. Louder. Faster. The gorilla charges forward, tearing through vines, pushing aside branches with raw force. His chest rises and falls like a bellows, each breath carrying the primal scent of earth, sweat, and something deeper, something unsettled. Every instinct in nature should be screaming danger. A silverback does not run like this without reason. A blind man should not be standing in his path. And yet he does not move. He does not run. He does not even turn away. He simply waits. Before we go any further into this moment, into this impossible collision between raw power and fragile stillness, take a second to connect with this story. Wherever you are in the world right now, pause and let us know in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it there? These stories travel far beyond borders, and your presence here is part of what gives them life. And if you feel drawn to stories that explore the quiet, unseen connections between humans and animals, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. You're not just watching, you're becoming part of a community that believes there is more to this world than what we can explain. The camera returns to the forest, but this time it slows. Time stretches. The distance between the man and the approaching silverback begins to collapse, each second thick with anticipation. But to understand this moment, we must go back to where the story truly begins. The forest is not just a place. It is a living, breathing entity, ancient, patient, and deeply aware. The air carries layers of scent, damp soil rich with decay, crushed vegetation releasing sharp green notes, and the faint sweetness of distant blossoms hidden somewhere beyond sight. It is here that the man first arrived. His name is Rahim. Long before this moment, before the silence and the charge and the unexplainable tension, Rahim came to this forest not as a visitor, but as someone seeking something he could not name. He had lost his sight years ago. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, like a fading memory. Light became shadow, shadow became darkness, and eventually the world he once knew dissolved into sound, texture, and scent. But where many would have retreated inward, Rahim did the opposite. He stepped into the unknown. The villagers at the edge of the forest spoke of him in quiet tones. They said he walked deeper than anyone dared, that he listened to the forest as if it spoke back, that animals did not flee from him the way they did from others. At first, these were just stories, until the gorilla appeared. The silverback was known among researchers and locals alike. A dominant male, powerful, territorial, unpredictable. His presence alone commanded distance and respect. He had a name given by those who observed him from afar, Koro. Koro was not just strong, he was intelligent. His movements were calculated, his gaze deeply observant. He led his troop with a balance of authority and restraint. But there was something else, something harder to define. A stillness within him. The first encounter between Rahim and Koro was not dramatic. There was no charge, no display of dominance, only silence. Rahim had wandered further than usual that day. The air had been thick with the scent of rain, the ground soft beneath his feet. He paused, as he often did, listening, not just for sound, but for the subtle shifts in the environment. And then he felt it, not heard. Felt a presence. Koro stood only meters away, watching. The wind carried Rahim's scent toward him, human, unfamiliar, but not aggressive. The blind man stood without fear, his body relaxed, his breathing steady. Two beings from entirely different worlds, connected not through sight, but through something deeper. Time passed, minutes, maybe longer. Neither moved. And then, slowly, Koro turned and disappeared back into the forest. That should have been the end. But it wasn't. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Rahim returned again and again, following the same paths, guided by memory, sound, and instinct. And each time, Koro appeared. Never too close, never too far. Watching, observing. Learning. A bond began to form, not through touch, not through direct interaction, but through presence, through the quiet understanding that neither posed a threat. Rahim would sit for hours, his fingers brushing against the bark of trees, feeling the textures, the life within them. He would speak softly, not words meant to be understood, but tones, rhythms, emotions carried in sound. And Koro listened. The forest became their shared space, a place where sight was no longer necessary. But then, something changed. The first signs were subtle. Koro's movements became less fluid. His once powerful strides slowed, interrupted by moments of hesitation. His breathing, once deep and controlled, grew uneven. The researchers noticed. From a distance, they observed behavioral shifts, reduced activity, increased isolation. Signs that something was wrong. But getting close was not an option. A silverback in distress is unpredictable, dangerous. Days passed, and Koro's condition worsened. He withdrew further, avoiding even his own troop. The forest around him seemed to mirror his state, the air heavier, the silence deeper, the usual chorus of life muted. And yet Rahim kept coming, unaware of the full extent of the danger, until the day everything broke. The camera returns to the present, the charge. Koro is no longer distant. He is close now, too close. His massive form bursts into the clearing, his momentum unstoppable. The ground shakes with each step, sending vibrations through Rahim's body. But Rahim does not run. Instead, he lowers his cane, his head tilts slightly, his face calm, almost knowing. The air between them is electric. Koro slows, just slightly, but enough. His charge is no longer blind aggression, it is something else, something conflicted. He lets out a deep, guttural sound, not a roar, not a threat, but something closer to pain. And in that moment, everything becomes clear. Koro is not attacking, he is asking. The truth reveals itself not through sight, but through behavior, through sound, through the subtle language of life that exists beyond words. Koro is injured, severely. Hidden beneath his thick fur, a wound festers, infected, inflamed. The scent of it, sharp, acidic, unmistakable, lingers in the air, masked only by the dampness of the forest. It is pain that has driven him, pain that has broken his usual instincts, pain that has led him here to Rahim. Because in all his encounters, in all the silent exchanges, Rahim was the only presence that brought calm instead of fear. The only one who did not react, who did not threaten, who simply was. Koro stops just meters away, his chest heaves, his body trembles, not with aggression, but with exhaustion. Rahim slowly raises his hand, not reaching, not forcing, just offering. The space between them holds. Breath meets breath. The forest listens. And then something extraordinary happens. Koro lowers himself, not fully, but enough. A gesture, an invitation, a surrender. Rahim steps forward carefully. His fingers extend, guided not by sight, but by the warmth radiating from Koro's body, by the rhythm of his breathing, by the unspoken understanding that has been building for months. His hand makes contact. Fur, thick, coarse, warm. Koro does not flinch. Rahim's fingers move slowly, exploring, sensing, until they find it. The wound. Raw, swollen, radiating heat. Koro exhales deeply, a sound that carries both pain and relief. The moment stretches. Two beings, connected through trust, through vulnerability, through something that defies explanation. Help arrives later, drawn by the unusual stillness, by the absence of expected conflict. The experts move carefully, guided by what they witness, something they cannot fully understand, but cannot deny. Treatment begins, slowly, carefully, and Koro allows it, because Rahim is there, because the bond holds. Days pass. Healing is not immediate, it is gradual, layered, complex, but progress comes. And then, the moment, the first true reconnection. Koro stands, stronger now, his movements steadier, his breathing calm. Rahim stands before him, and for a brief, perfect moment they exist in complete harmony. Their breaths align. Inhale, exhale, together. The tension that once filled the space dissolves, replaced by something softer, deeper. Understanding. Trust. Something that does not need sight, or words, or explanation. Only presence, only connection. And as the camera slowly pulls back, rising above the forest, revealing the vast expanse of green stretching into the horizon, one truth becomes undeniable. There is a language in this world that exists beyond what we can measure. A language of instinct, of empathy, of something that feels almost like a sixth sense. Call it intuition, call it connection, call it love. Whatever it is real. And if this story moved something within you, if it made you pause, reflect, or feel something you can't quite put into words, then take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes there is more to this world than what we can see. And before you go, tell us in the comments. Have you ever experienced a moment where an animal seemed to understand you without a single word? Because sometimes the deepest connections are the ones we never expect and can never fully explain.